Alright, so yo, check it. Gen Pop gang in the building. You heard Slim Blunt gang in the building. You already Snow Bunny. I'm here with my bro Sequan the Don, one of y'all favorite storytellers off the channel. You heard. Before we get started, let me make sure I tell y'all, go on Spotify, type in Major Saint Laz Bangers, and check the new playlist that I'm making. It's going to be on all streaming platforms, but on Spotify right now, I got it popping, you feel me? With all my best songs, all my biggest features, my new joint with my bro King Taco. Shout out to the bro King Taco, that's my new artist. We going crazy. I'm here with the bro Sequan and Dawn. Let me give y'all a brief history first of all. How I met this brother, you feel me? And you know, it holds serious significance with this channel. Me and Son met each other in Franklin Correctional Facility up top. You heard, when I came to his dorm, I had 30 days loss of rec, 30 days loss of everything. You heard, I came from the annex in Franklin to the main in Franklin. They sent me to this bro dorm. We was in 2 dorms together on 2 different times in Franklin. But the first time they sent me there, I was on 30 days loss of everything. My uncle Kasim, rest in peace, sent word in like, yo, that's my nephew. You heard? So, you know, the bro Sequan came up to me while I was in my cube, you know, bored to death, can't come out my shit. You know what I mean? He introduced himself, yo, you know what I mean? My name's Shah. You heard? Kasim is Peoples, you alright? You know what I mean? And, you know, we small talk for a minute. But I ain't know the bro, he ain't know me, but he just was showing respect and letting it be known that, you know, the peoples is in here. So later on that day, Son came over to my cube and he was like, hey, yo, you fuck with Pac? So I'm like, hell yeah, I fuck with Pac. But at this time, you know, Pac was caught up with the whole Biggie setting him up shit, saying, alleging that Biggie set him up and all of that. And, you know, the Vibe magazine thing was out. And I was kind of tight at Pac. I was kind of tight at the whole situation. Like, you feel me? Like, Pac saying Thug Life was dead and all of that. I was tight. But Son, this dude right here was like the first dude on the whole compound with that Me Against the World album. And Son told me, he said, Joe, you fuck with Pac? I said, yeah. He said, Joe, I got that new Pac album. I was like, get the fuck out of here. And that nigga pulled the tape out and was like, yo, if niggas know that I let you hold this before them, they'll be tight. You know, the bro Sequan gave me the Me Against the World album and told me, yo, look, I'm going to rec. I'm going to the yard for 2 hours. But when I come back in this dorm, I needs that Tupac album. You heard? So Son let me hear the album before he even heard the album himself. You heard? And I sat back. I'm on QB Cube. I sat back. I listened to that Pac album. And that shit was, to this day, my favorite Pac album, Me Against the World. The album was so crazy. You heard? But I was very thankful that the brother let me hold that Tupac tape. And when he came back from the yard, me and Son started building on Tupac.
In reference to what you were speaking about, it's ironic that you kind of refresh my memory like you always do. Rest in peace to Kasim. You know, that was one of my, I would like to say one of my elders, but he wasn't old. You know what I mean? So when I say elder, I'm speaking from a standpoint of the information he got, and even in my manners of being inquisitive and questioning them, you know what I'm saying? He had an answer for everything. So those, when I call my elders is based on how much time they put in studying, not their age or not how much time they do. You know what I mean? But also rest in peace to Shoe Diamond, Shoe Shine, because Shoe was the one who put me on the Pop. Right? Oh, really? I never shared that. Shoe, right. We was on the island. Shoe had a Walkman at the time with cassettes that, you know, certain people just get, you know, certain things. And he told me about Tupacalypse Now, right? And he was like, yo, this is our speed right here. That's all he said. And I was like, word. Now, from that standpoint, you know, I didn't get a chance to hear that because I didn't have the Walkman, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't playing Pac they was playing Brenda Had a Baby, you know what I'm saying, during that time frame. But when I got up north and got that joint, that was the origins for me, you know what I'm saying? Because I was already Tupacalypse Now, Strictly For My Niggas, and the ironic thing with Pac was that he was the closest tangible individual, because you know we studied, you know, the Black Panther movement. We became familiar with George Jackson, Jonathan Jackson. This was all part of our basic, you know what I'm saying, training as far as...
Pac was the Black Panthers for us,
He was the Black Panther for us.
When you gave me that album that day, that Me Against the World album, you remember on the cover, son got the glasses on the inside.
Right.
He was looking, you know, he was talking that thug life is dead shit with then he had a cross on the front.
Right.
So when I first seen the album, I'm like, yo, I hope this dude is not turning on no soft shit, you feel me? Like on some, he not spitting the same type of shit he was spitting on Strictly For My Niggas and Tupacalypse Now. But when I threw that joint on, the first song that I heard was that Lord Knows. When that shit, I was like, yo, and then the title of the song threw me off. I'm like, son on some super Christian rap shit. When I listened to that shit, son just was like, smoke a blunt to take the pain out, and if it wasn't high, I'd probably try to blow my brains out. Once I heard that shit, bro, that first verse, I said I would never question this nigga Pac again. I would never question nothing about him. He's always gonna be the truth. You heard?
Now, I to add on to that, right? I say Pac got me through my bid, right? How Pac got me through my bid was, all right, well, and people don't understand the most basic similarities that him and Big had, right, was that they were street poets. You know what I mean? They're telling aspects of their life, you know what I'm saying, how they lived and how they grew up, you know what I mean? However, right, Pac basically showed me duality, right? And duality, if you get into the ancient teachings, you know, of the Maya system, and Netta rule is going to tell you every left got a right, you know what I mean? Every light got a dark, you know? So it's a yin and a yang. It got to coexist, you know what I'm saying, in order to be relevant. So basically, Pac will talk about the good aspects of a woman, right? And then he'll talk about the bad aspects of the woman, which is all accurate. You know, they wonder why they call you bitch. You know what I mean? He talk about the good aspect of the brothers, strictly for my niggas. But then he also talk about, you know, the other aspect of dudes and how foul motherfuckers can be and treachery.
The reason why this brother right here, Sequan, you know, is so important to this channel and important to me with this storytelling shit, is when I first met this dude in Franklin Correctional Facility, after he let me hold a Pac tape, and I realized that Son was a good dude. And, you know, at the time, basically, Son was kind of running the dorm. You know, we had a bunch of real dudes. I don't remember who was in the dorm at the time, but, you know, you was kind of like, you know, the dude running the dorm. And I came in the dorm, you showed me extra love, but once we got cool, I started playing your cube a lot. And Son basically started giving me Brooklyn heritage and knowledge, because, you know, I'm a young dude, just came out the house 2 days ago and caught a case and was up north. I only knew about Brownsville and East New York, really. Like, I got family in Marcy, I got family in Williamsburg, you heard? Like, I know about the whole Brooklyn, but this dude's knowledge on Brooklyn was extensive. And when we got cool, that's when you whipped out the photo album. And when you whipped out the photo album, let me explain this to people. This nigga had a photo album with the most legendary of legendary fly-ass and real-ass niggas from Brooklyn, from Crown Heights, from Fort Greene, from Flatbush. This nigga had a Bible of Brooklyn pictures that I hope you ain't lose that photo album. When I tell you, this nigga had pictures of 20, 30 Brooklyn niggas low down from head to toe, all type of shit, not just low. And in these pictures, this dude was always the littlest, youngest dude in the picture, fly as everybody else, if not flyer. So I'm looking through this dude pictures and I'm like, yo, this nigga know everybody in the whole Brooklyn. He got the receipts for every story he tells. And that's when we started. I started telling him my growing up in Brownsville stories, and he started telling me his growing up in Fort Greene and Crown Heights stories. You feel me? And we used to break night in your cube telling stories to a point where our steady police didn't even fuck with us, bro. You don't supposed to be in nobody cube at 3, 4 in the morning. We up at 3, 4 in the morning with the pictures out, with photo albums and letters from different Brooklyn legends, and son used to just be basically giving me the history on Tompkins, on Sumner, on Marcy, on the Fort, on Flatbush, and just breaking down the hierarchies of everything. So this storytelling shit that we do on this channel, it ain't really start on YouTube. It started in the penitentiary. You heard? Even in the penitentiary, this dude's stories captivated me and made me proud to be from Brooklyn. You feel me? And I envied that photo album. I envied that shit. I said, damn, like this nigga right here, he got the receipts. For every story he talk about, he got the receipts right here in these photos. And when I say, yo, bro, listen, when I say niggas was just, these was legendary photos. And then on top of that, the jail photos from major motherfuckers. Signed, you feel me? And, you know, son embraced me. Son embraced me and brought me into that motherfucking love for the Brooklyn culture. You feel what I'm saying? I already had the love, but he just opened my eyes to a whole nother side of Brooklyn. That fly shit, that money getting shit. You feel me? Son told me stories about Midtown and Snap. I never heard, you know, I knew about digging pockets downtown Brooklyn and Pickens Avenue and shit like that. But son schooled me to the Midtown pocket digging game and who was the main hierarchies of niggas that was doing it and downtown Brooklyn and who ran the mall, and you know, son was giving me all of those jewels. You feel me?
Shout out to Big Slop, shout out to Fuji, shout out to Hawk and them boys.
You heard? So this is why this dude is one of the first dudes I had on the channel giving good Rikers Island stories and shit like that. Because when we was up top, son had a photo album that summarized the entire Brooklyn. You feel me? And that shit was epic. And a lot of these stories that he told on the channel, I heard these stories up top, you know, 20 years ago, 20 something years ago. So, you know, with that being said, you know, welcome to the motherfucking podcast. My bro Sequan the Don. You know, a lot of y'all dudes out here know him as Sha. You feel me? That's why y'all be confused. Like Sequan, nah, you know Sha. You know what it is. You heard? Shout out to the people. Shout out to the whole BK. But now that I got the bro here, I just want to ask, I met you up top and you was in C-74 before I was in C-74. Right. You know, you might have been there a little while I was there, but how did you end up on Rikers Island in C-74 on that trip where you got cut, and how did that happen? Like, you know, we told a story on the channel. He told a story about getting cut in C-74, but we're gonna go into more vivid detail now. You heard? But how did you end up on Rikers Island at that time?
Well, first of all, see, everything with me, it stems from the street. It ain't no just so happened jail situation. You know what I mean? It's like shit got done in the street, you know, and at that particular time when you go through, you know, it's like everybody, is always going to be somebody on the island, you know, whether you get to see them right then and there or you don't. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on what position they in, how they represent themselves, if they represent themselves. All these different microscopic things play a major role. But also, it's like you know, thinking back on it now is a total different outlook than being in it in the moment at that particular point in time in life, right? And it's like, you know, like your projects, like Cypress, like a lot of projects that have issues with each other, this side against that side, you know, whatever the case may be. And there was things going on in my projects at the time with different sides, you know, and it was ongoing, and it started before I could remember, but you become inherited. It becomes inherited. You know how these things go, and